Hello, and welcome everyone to the start of a new Elikhand series with me, Dwarfeet, where we are going to be starting off as the new Wanderers in Escann here. And so, the new Wanderers, they have traveled far from their home of Kheterata, also known as the country of not Egypt. And of course we're going to accept mythical conquerors because this is a Dwarfeet campaign. Give it to me, pain. And so in the land of Kheterata, they believe in the Khetist, which is they revere and worship cats, basically, as all good nations do. And so we have ventured up here to proselytize our good, long-lost brethren, known as the Cannorians. As you can see, we are literally the only Kheteratan for miles around. And so, in comparison to, say, Estil, I would say we're good necromancers, whereas the Order of the Iron Scepter are evil necromancers, and you might be wondering, what is a good necromancer? Well, I'll tell you, a good necromancer is one in which they don't raise the dead, and instead, they, I would say, only raise themselves for eternity. So, opening moves, when you start in the New World, or I should say the Escanny world, there's two things you want to start off by doing. You want to get as much PP as you can, because that's going to help your PowerPoint situation. And two, you want to see about... You want to fish for a good trade good. And in times past, this whole area used to be unknown, but instead, now, it's actually quite simple. So usually strategies end up being migrating towards Casna, which is really easy to develop, and has great trade goods. Or you try and migrate towards a gold province. For our purposes, we're going to do neither, and instead we're just going to get over here because I'd like to do a day one war against the Giblins. And... right. So we are in Escann, where the Greentide began 24 years ago when the Korgus Dookanson, who claimed he was the son of their evil god Dookanson himself, invaded and laid waste to the chivalrous kingdoms of Escann, in which you can now see it's all uncolonized. Only Corin, a mortal woman imbued by the powers of Agrados, who we do not worship at all, we do not adhere to that belief, was able to push back them. And stop them she did. And she was able to kill Korgus Dookanson. But unfortunately, she was slain in the city of Casna. And so that gives us adventuring efficiency, which I will state is pretty dang useless. Do not spend your military points on this. It is really bad. But we do need to pick an heir, and I always like to go with... usually I try to go with... There's two choices here. Lilac Dwarves better, that guarantees you to get good pips. These guys all work exactly like picking... So this is a 1-1-4, this is a 1-4-1, and this is a 4-1-1, or abouts. This guy, this is literally only for adventuring efficiency. And this guy gives you manpower. But the one I like to choose is a noble from our homeland. Why is that, you may be wondering? Well, in case you can get a royal marriage, or you have the same dynasty, you can get a freaking personal union over Kheterata, which often rises to be the largest nation in the game. In the early game, that is. So for that reason, we're gonna roll the dice. So, and what is she? Crodamos, yes! Awesome. So that means if ever they have a crap heir, we will pounce on that opportunity. Okay. So moving forward, like I said, you do want to try and get as many allies as you can early on. I would not suggest joining a federation, even though you can. And we will go for, ironically, the Order of the Iron Scepter. That's because they start with a mage, I believe, right? Yep, and mages make for great generals. Now, we're gonna get started immediately with this humiliation. As soon as we're allowed to, and we will go for the reclamation of Escann. And the goal here isn't to destroy him outright, but just soften him. And there's a question on whether we should make him a general. I would say don't make him a general, your powerful mage that is, until absolutely necessary. I.e., if you're facing a big coalition, then make him a general. I happen to know that goblins suck at the beginning of the game, so for that reason, we don't really need to worry about this. And as always, try and keep your loss to a minimum when it comes to fighting in the early game. Because your manpower is very... Oh, they fixed it! I didn't know that they patched that. Apparently you can't stack manpower by hiding it in the provinces anymore. Clever paradox, clever. So, third thing actually I should say, that you want to beeline towards is getting a guild hall. We right now are considered a primitive nation, and it gives us a terrible province war score cost, plus 500%. And so the way you get out of this is by, you have to click this button of become a country. Until that happens, you're kind of screwed. I would suggest prioritizing anything that gives you reform progress, even though migration gives you power points. And you could be tempted to pick either the manpower recovery speed, but don't, well, it's your call, because it gives you more missionary strength and makes the early game significantly easier. But it will make your mid-game much difficult. We do have a custom mission tree after this, which is why we're playing this nation, and I must say Elikhand's is one of the best I've ever played, bar none. So we're going to start off with getting the adventurer army, which, while we are heavily reliant on the average adventurer for resettling the land, we do still need a group of adventurers we can trust to always be ready to defend our borders and push back the Urks. So we get 10% morale of army and some adventuring efficiency. And we're in this, we might as well pick it up because it's a good time to pick it up. We must never forget, nor forgive the Orcs for what they have done. It is time to finish what Corin started and strike back and reclaim Escann from the Greenskins, or die trying. And if we could get 25,000 troops, we would get pretty good, but... So instead, what we're going to do is start improving with the Order of the Iron Scepter. And we've just finished up that... that's right. We only have one diplomat. My favorite. We'll go ahead and trade from Castanet until we can find something better to do. And okay, from you, literally all I want is a humiliation, war reps, and let's start getting this prestige up, because the more morale of armies we can get, the better. We could also take their tribal land, but by migrating, we end up beating them anyways. And so the main reason we're not bothering too much with taking them over right now is because we want access to be able to move around and attack the other monstrous nations, which will be quite helpful. So humiliate, war reparations, and a rivalry. We'll actually take a little bit more money. Nah, actually I prefer the prestige this early on. Mostly because the aggressive expansion impact is going to be helpful. And yeah. Okay, so. Like I said, it is in your best interest. I also will point out that you don't have access to the estates early on. So that's kind of difficult. And do we want to join a federation? We might as well. Might as well. Okay, so now the question is, who do we go after next? And Federation essentially acts like a... it allows you to... you will be protected, essentially. You won't have any worries. So for that reason, what we're going to do is beeline over to this area, because I'd like to put my capital in Silvervord, maybe. Because Silvervord is a very good spot to put it. Otherwise, I just want to get over here so I can fight these orcs. Who looks like already they're... Venom Tooth would be simple to beat up. So perhaps we'll go up there instead. Okay. So we'll go ahead and put it up to speed 3. You could be tempted to put on advisors, but I would argue don't do that until you have your guild hall, because you need that monthly reform progress. It is much better than anything else you can get. And after you get your... what do you call it? So your guild hall, then I would suggest getting the ceremonial fire pit. Never mind, I got that. So these top ones, these are only available to, you see these quest symbols, those are only available for adventurers. These little orc symbols, only available for orcs and monstrous. Oh, I see to block myself in the corner, so instead we'll go this way, and we'll just keep migrating. And with any luck, maybe we could attack you. Potentially. There is another way we can get our PP up real quick, and that is by A, sending insults, and B, by enacting what are they called? Embargoes. Each embargo gives you +1, which admittedly isn't much, but it is something. The longer you can keep these PowerPoints up, the better. And so we're hoping to go up this way, to Venom Tooth Lands. And with any luck, we can get this quick enough, and that should be great for our purposes. We're also going to go ahead and get another stability, because that gives us an extra 100 ducats, which is great at this point in the game. And then once we have that, we should be good. And so the way you're supposed to, since you don't have access to colonists here in the early game, you have two ways of doing it. You can either take others, which is this government reform alludes to, or you can do this one, which allows you to colonize them, but it does take money. And it also doesn't allow you to migrate, which... it's not great. And for that reason, I don't usually go for it. I was going to say next, though, that it looks like we're right on time to start another migration. And we're only about a little bit away from getting our next... whatchamacallit? Ooh, that's tempting. That is actually tempting, because we don't have to be anywhere near them. Any chance we could go after somebody like you? No. So it looks like we have to border the tribal land in order to attack them. I don't want to attack you straight out. Bone Carver's an orc. Be very afraid of orcs in the early game. They are particularly painful to fight. Maybe Flung Head? Flung Head looks like the best opportunity here. Okay, so we'll go to list fields. And perhaps that seems like a pretty safe attack on Sword Covenant. No. And so it's at this point when I'd say if you've run out of everything you can think of on what to do. Also, big misplay there by me by not reducing my army. Since you don't need to pay for anything. There's no... I get the thing first. Okay, the monthly reform progress is the most powerful one to get here. That will speed up your... That'll allow you to get through quite quick here. It's tempting. It's very tempting. Okay. And so this will speed up the reform, which is the biggest block in the early game for us. I would also suggest getting more reform progress. And this advisor cost will also help us quite a bit with points generation. Okay, and we can migrate, looks like, next year on the 5th. Okay. In the meantime, we want to get, I'd say, 2 more infantry, and then we will be probably safe enough to try our luck at a war. And that's why we allied Order of the Iron Scepter. Because of that guy right there. Oh, good. He's attacking Sons of Demeria. That's great. That means his army's going to be in pain. Somebody's not going to come out good from that war. Okay, and there goes the guild hall, which would allow us to recruit, say, a disciplined person in kind of a panic here if we need to. So that's quite helpful. And it looks like this guy's added something that improves? Oh, favors between members. Okay. And the next mill tech makes it so that we are primed to attack Venom Duke. But it's not 100% useful to us. When does our truce end with you? In 61. Okay. So 10 years. Main reason we would do this is if we wanted to take his gold, which we could then use to fund advisors. That's only if we think we can win. And I'm still debating which is the best way to do this. This allows you to take all the tribal land without needing to actually move into it. Otherwise, you just take it by conquering it. Okay. Ooh, the Cobalt Company. That could be a simple pick-off. Doesn't seem like we're getting much luck here, though. being able to move. Okay. Okay, so I think that's a good nest egg to start working with. I believe we are going to put our guy into generalship, and so this will start a timer for us. Essentially, we've got 20 years. 20 years until we can't... Our ruler will most likely die after 20 years. So to make best use of that, what we're going to do is try and take as much gold as we can and utilize that. Okay, so we'll go with the morale because manpower isn't as big of an issue right now. And we'll go ahead and make him a war wizard. Actually, does he have any interesting... He doesn't have any necromancy, but he does have some evocation, which is really good. Evocation's one of my favorite. It gives this, which will make it very easy for us to attack with the orcs. Basically makes us on par with an orc. And we can also do a little bit of maybe illusion? No, illusion just gives you, yeah. Conjuration, perhaps. Enchantment. That's what I'm looking for. Which gives us another 5% morale. We're clicking that because I am terrified that we won't be able to kill the orcs in time. Okay, so we're going to make him a war wizard. And, ooh, he's a good one. Nice. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and get started with our war with the goblins right now. And the name of this is to stack wipe them, leave a troop, and go quickly deal with the orcs. And by quickly, what I mean is literally just siege down that capital as fast as you can. And with any luck... Okay, so we can see their troops there. We can see them there. If I can just white piece them out, then we'll be fine. They're probably coming down to me right now. Yep. That's okay. We can lose that troop. And we can see we vastly beat him in morale, so it's not going to be too scary of a war. So long as we can get this capital down, yes. And so now what this gives us the ability to do is take his money. 135 ducats is no joke in the early game. We can even pillage him. And that'll give us an extra little bit of dove here. And okay. Everything's looking really good so far. This is about as pitch perfect as an opener as you can get. Okay, and we can see he's right there, sieging us, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the next orc. And okay, could we... What am I willing to give? I'm willing to give up the pillage in exchange for, say, some transfer trade, break up his alliance chain. We can drop down a little bit of money. No, I think he's going to continue to get... whatchamacallit? War exhaustion. And I don't think he's gonna get our capital before that. Okay, like I said, that worked out. Plus we can do all that, and wonderful. So then that just puts us in a siege race against him, to which the Cobalt Company then declared on Venom Tooth. Excellent. And it looks like this is going exactly the way we want. That'll give us some more war reps. We can break up his alliance chain, gets us the prestige early on. And I'd say we're in a safe enough position that I feel good getting full level 1 advisors this early into the game. Sure, we don't make a ton of money, but that's okay. Okay, and I think we're going to start conquering some land. Go ahead and settle for that much. I don't need anything else from him. Of course, pick that. Alright. Okay, and we'll just help them real quick with that siege, because we can. Give him a little bit of help, and then we'll pop off, because he's going to probably peace out on his own. Hopefully he will anyways. The guy doesn't always like to follow. Okay. So with that, we can take the next admin tech, which is quite helpful. With any luck, we could get Renaissance. Nah, we're probably gonna have to develop that ourselves. We got a tolerance increase of orcs, funnily enough. And we've got quite a bit of money to work with now. And I'd say it's worth it. We already have a guild hall. It's worth it to go for a longhouse, which gives us more monthly reform progress. And with any luck, I don't know, maybe we'll get the next reform before we kill this guy. And looks like he tried to do the sneaky. I turned off my maintenance. Get Shrek'd. Die. Dummy. Okay, so there's his army done. He's gonna just completely get... yeah. Okay. There he goes. I'm not oh, you took all the land I was gonna take. Okay. It's perfectly fine. These things happen. So instead we'll just transfer trade and steal all this guy's land. Or maybe we could prestige him. I'm not sure. But the Cobalt Company would be a very easy one to get into a war with compared to his allies. He only has the Raven Company, which is way the heck over here, and the Company of the Thorn, which isn't a big deal. Okay, there's that. And we can start conquering a little bit of land here, not too much. Actually, I think I would prefer a little bit... Yeah, that seems like a fair deal. We get 10 prestige, which again, I'm doing that so we can start getting our aggressive expansion impact dealt with. And with any luck, we can become a part of the Empire of Anbennar, which would give us more aggressive expansion impact. And we can migrate... arguably, you want to do this so you don't burn out all the land. We will head this way. Okay, and that sets us up for a good war with either the Anbennar cost, who we are a part of, crap, or the Warriors of Encardia. Good. And we'll probably just, yep, nestle ourselves in between here. That gets us access to another one of our rivals. He's got quite a bit of allies, of which I think we can take him, if I will be so bold. If we could get the war camp, then that would basically allow us to do this, to be as bold as we want, and just go for it. There's a case to be made for going national focus on military, but I think this is a good stopping point for right now as we get the next government reform. And I believe we're going to go with the ending the Greentide, because I don't have land to settle. So we're going to go with end the Greentide. And after that, I think we're going to go for the discipline. Finally, we can create our own nation. Which, once you click this button, all of this land becomes settled. All of your tribal land. And so with that, I thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for more new Wanderers of Elikhand.